fucking awesome.
Hello and welcome to another episode of The Journey of Your Life. And Happy New Year, because it's the first video of 2023 and I chosen a nice little happy topic to start the year with, and it's called Life is Suffering. Jesus, Marcel, couldn't you think of something more happier? Well, I probably could, but there's a reason why I'm doing this video. And the reason is that I discovered that the first 2 weeks of the new year is also the time where most people commit suicide. Now, I thought it was during the holidays, but I was wrong. It's right now. We live in a time where most people commit suicide. That's interesting, right? So, and also I've been talking to a lot of Portuguese people, and it turns out that the Portuguese people believe, I'm not sure it's all of them, but to the few I talked to them, they said life is all about suffering as well. And they also believe that the more they suffer and talk about it, you know, so they bring the suffering to the surface, the better chance they have that they will get a good seat in heaven. Now, I don't know if this is true. I only talked to like a handful of Portuguese people, so if you're from Portugal, maybe you can confirm this or shed some light on the matter. But anyway, you know, life is suffering. And you know what? Sure, why not? I mean, even according to Buddhism, life is suffering. And we live in a world where there's no shortage of malevolence and betrayal and tragedy. I mean, you know, everybody you love is going to get sick and die, or grow old and die, you know, and if you're really in a bad space, you know, you get one of your parents to develop Alzheimer's, and that's going to be a handful to deal with, right? And, you know, so it sucks. And to top it all off, you're going to die in the end as well. So we're on this journey that will only lead to misery, you know? And if you haven't experienced any of the those elements, those dark elements yet, don't worry, it will come to your door automatically. You don't have to do anything for it. So we all get our portion of all those negative ingredients of life. So what do you do with that? You know, what do you do in spite of all the suffering? Because we can agree that life is suffering, so what do you do in spite of that? Well, there are a couple of things you can do. There are two things, I believe. Well, there's a third one, but the third option is to commit suicide, which I wouldn't recommend. I actually did a lot of research on suicide because I was in a really dark place a couple of years ago. And I discovered that people who committed suicide and they came out of it, you know, they survived it, they actually, the moment they did it, you know, like jumping off a bridge or something like that, instantly regret it. So, you know, if you're one of those persons and contemplating suicide, it's not going to help. It's not going to solve your problems. You know, it's like a permanent solution to a temporary problem, you could say, right? So don't do that. So option two is, well, you can have a good talk with God, shake his fist to him and say, hey God, what's up with this reality you created? You know, it's flawed. The structure of reality is flawed. Well, you know, maybe he's listening, but I'm not sure he's going to change that, right? And you could also talk to your friends about it, you know, and complain about life, and, you know, see how many friends are left at the end of the year. But then there's an option three, right? You can do as, and option three is, of course, accept it, you know, take responsibility over the fact that life is suffering, because yes, it is. Let's agree on that, right? So take responsibility for your life. And how do you do that? You know, how do you take responsibility for life? How do you take responsibility for your life? Well, you can look at yourself and admit to yourself that there's something wrong with you. Because you're not perfect, so there is something wrong. You know, you're flawed. You're not being all you can be, and you know that. You know, you have that conversation with yourself. You know that you're not being all you can be. You know, and if you would run to your mother and talk to your mother, she would probably tell you that you're amazing and the most beautiful person. You're perfect the way you are, and that's great because that's a mother's job to do that. But the reality is, you know you are not, you know you are not perfect. There's so much more inside of you that you can be. There is so much, you know, potential inside of you. So how do you find the ingredients to get that potential out of you, right? Well, for me, it would be like, you know, find a meaningful goal that you can pursue. You know, and what is meaningful, you could ask. Well, I don't know. What is meaningful for you? You know, what brings you joy? What excites you? What brings you enthusiasm? You know, what creates happiness for you? Whatever it is. So you have to take the responsibility, there it is again, to find what it is that brings you joy and enthusiasm. So you have to find a meaningful goal, a valuable, at least valuable to you, goal that you can pursue, because, you know, science proves that if you can find a meaningful and valuable goal to you and you start pursuing it, those are the things that will bring you joy and enthusiasm. So you have to discover and find out what that is. So how do you do that? Well, you have to step into the energy of improving things. So you can start really small. You just look around, you know. I mean, there's plenty of things that needs to be fixed in this world, and you can even start in your own home, right? You can start to look inside your home and be like, what can I improve in my house? And I know it sounds a little bit crazy maybe, but what happens is, if you would to start improving things, if you would start fixing things, if you would start making things better, then that is the energy that gets started. So start with the small things, and all those small incremental steps get the ball rolling and brings you to literally higher places. So I just realized I can talk for a few more hours about this, but I'm not going to do it. I'm going to leave it at this because this video has been long enough. Anyways, that's it for now. Thanks for watching. Have an amazing year. It's going to be an epic year. And see you again on the next video. Much love. Bye bye.